This is the secret to Google AdWords success, and again, not a lot of people outside of the sort of AdWords professional circle realise this, but your position on the listings on Google AdWords isn't determined by your bid price. Well, it's not determined by your bid price alone. There are other factors in there. One of the biggest factors that determines where you are and how much you pay is your click-through rate, which I'm going to explain in a minute, and also your landing page quality. So that's the page that people click through to. It's got to have some nice content on there, and it's got to meet with a few rules that Google set out. Now, most advertisers don't know this, and they go steaming in and they spend loads of money on a click, and they don't do all the things we're talking about. And these people are rich pickings for people like you and me, because we can apply these tricks, and we can apply this formula here, and we can get a higher click-through rate than these people. And what that means is that we could actually be in a higher position on the search results with our ad than our competitors, and we'll still be paying less. For example, if we had an ad with, I don't know, a really high click-through rate, like a 4% click-through rate, we were paying, I don't know, 75 cents a click, we would most probably be higher in the rankings than our competitor, who was paying more, like $1 a click, and had a lower click-through rate, like 0.5%. So the way Google has set this up is that the most popular ads and the best marketers win. So bear that in mind, because I'd say that's the one biggest secret to AdWords success that I can possibly ever give you. So bear that in mind. Okay, I'm going to explain click-through rate now. For people that haven't used AdWords in the past and don't really, well, who aren't into the whole Google AdWords thing, I'm just going to explain this very quickly. The click-through rate is a percentage, and the percentage is worked out by the number of people who saw your ad. Okay, this is called impressions. This is what Google call it. So it's how many times your ad has been displayed on the search results, divided by the people who actually clicked on your ad. So it's a percentage of people who've actually clicked on your ad, and this equals your click-through rate. So I've got an example down the bottom here, and so say if we had 1,000 impressions in a day, and 20 people out of that 1,000 that saw your ad clicked on them, you would have a 2% click-through rate. And this is the number that's really important to Google, and this is the number that determines where your ad is and how much you pay for a click. So bear that in mind. Now, the secret to a good click-through rate, because I bet that was your next question, wasn't it? So but the key is to be very, very relevant, and that's really it. There's all other little tips and tricks, but really that's the key to a good click-through rate and a good Google ad. If someone typed in, I don't know, digital radios, for example, if you had an advert that advertised CD players, you're going to get a really terrible click-through rate. You need to mention in your advert the subject that the person is searching for, and that's it really. And answer the questions that's in the searcher's head. So for certain industries and certain subjects, there's bound to be questions, and also echo their problems as well. So if you can, as a general rule, without sounding too deep here, if you can actually get into the person's head and work out what that person is searching on, understand your market, like micro market of that keyword, you're on your way to having real success with Google AdWords. Now, I'm just going to tell you how a campaign is structured before we get into the meat of it, and we actually go into a Google account and we get everything set up, and I'll show you how to do things. This is a little picture that I drew earlier on, and this tells you how it all works. At the very top of the hierarchy is your Google account there. Okay, now underneath that is your Google campaigns. Now if you see the left green box, it says AdWords campaigns, that's where you select your language, you want your campaign to target, your location, what countries and areas or districts, and whether you want your ads to appear on the Google network or you want it to appear on the AdSense network that I can explain a bit later, or Ask or AOL or anything like that. And so your campaign is kind of like your general settings, and then under your campaign is something called an ad group, and your ad group contains keywords and ads. So you can have as many as these as you like, and I suggest inside these ad groups, don't worry, I'm going to go into this in detail a bit later on, you just have very relevant keywords and very relevant ads. So if we use the same example of a digital radio, if we were to do okay, let's give an example. So our campaign, we could call our campaign hi-fi sales, for example, and one ad group in that would be for digital radios, and your keywords you'd bid on in that group would be, I don't know, digital radios, buy digital radio info, and then your advert would mention digital radios. Very, very simple. And then if you wanted to sell, I don't know, CD players, you'd set up another ad group, call that CD players, bid on all the keywords to do with CD players, and write an ad that mentions CD players. You see, it's really not that hard. So that's a real basic introduction to Google AdWords, and in the next video we're going to dive in and get going, and we're going to show you how to set up a really good Google campaign from scratch and make it work first time round. Speak to you soon.